Disenchantment is a fantasy animated series that very much flips the script in terms of what you would expect from the genre. Mainly because it's in the same comedy and visual style as The Simpsons and Family Guy, which is appropriate because the creator of The Simpsons made this show. Part 4 is out right now on Netflix, and people are already talking about it. But if you want to have more of a tease of what's coming before you check it out, why not listen to the words of the main character herself? Allow us to show you how Disenchantment's Abbi Jacobson talks Bean's hero journey in Season 4. Bean's hero journey. In her interview, the first thing she was asked about was teasing the season as a whole. And she made sure to note that while all the characters get story opportunities, there's one for Bean that is especially important. This part definitely takes our characters on individual journeys. There are so many adventures within each episode. In every season of the show, there are unexpected adventures into all the depths of Dreamland and all the different worlds in which this show has created. This is the most personal season yet. We're getting to know the characters way more, and getting to know Bean's parents more, and a relationship with herself and to her best friends from whom she's been separated. This is her hero's journey. They're all on their hero's journey, and they kind of always have been. But this is where I think they get to do it more personally. A very interesting thing to note, and a lot of fans will no doubt want them to dive deeper into these characters so that we can get even more out of the franchise than we have so far. Surprising path. One thing you might not have expected Jacobson to note is that she didn't expect Bean to be where she is right now in terms of both setting for Part 4 and her own arc as a character. Not at all. It's been one of my favorite things about this show. I think the show is hilarious. There's no question about the laughs per minute. It's a very juicy show full of humor, whether it's visual or in the dialogue or storyline. Everything has these layers of funny. I really didn't expect there to be this much character development and growth and this exploration of figuring oneself out. And that no doubt drives many to watch Disenchantment. Though clearly it's not for everyone, because it's more than meets the eye, even when it's the cast that are talking about such things. Favorite memory. When you're part of a series for so long, you look at each season and do your best to not just enjoy it, but remember what you enjoy about it. And Abbi was asked just that about Part 4 in regards to her favorite memory when voicing Bean. Aw man, I can't reveal what this is. But there's this thing that allows me to branch out in a different way voice-wise. I often get to imitate a lot of the other characters, like Bean does their voices because she's annoyed. That often ends up being some of my favorite stuff when I get to imitate Dagmar, or her parents, or other characters on the show because I'm one of the only voice actors that pretty much uses my own voice. Everyone else has this incredible list of characters that they voice, so I love it when I get to do something outside the box. In this season, I do something that's really fun. I'm really not explaining it well, but you'll know it when you see it. All the more reason for you to watch Part 4 and see what she means, don't you think? Fan interaction. Another thing you might expect from someone like Abbi Jacobson is that she would want to embrace the fandom of Disenchantment and bask in their love of the show. Her interviewer asked her if she notices the fan art or even the fan fiction for the show, and her answer is honestly a bit surprising. I don't have a big relationship with the fan community. Unfortunately, I'm someone who struggles a bit with social media. I feel very addicted to it, so I try to lessen my time on it for my mental well-being. I mean, around Halloween, I get to see when people dress up as Bean and other characters from the show, and then drawings and stuff like that, but I'm not very privy to most of it. I've got to do a deep dive and search a little. That's totally understandable, as the world of social media, especially when you're a celebrity, is not the kindest of places at times. So if she hasn't done her deep dive yet, we're not going to blame her. She absolutely should do it at her own pace. Idols. When you're a celebrity, a popular one at that, you always are hailed as someone above and even looked at as an idol in the eyes of certain fans. But what people forget at times is that those celebrities once, and still do, have idols that they look up to. And Abbi was no different when she was asked about her animation idols. I mean, The Simpsons was pretty influential to me as a kid growing up. And Matt Groening is the loveliest person. Every single time I do a recording and he's on the Zoom, I'm like, this is wild. And he's just the greatest and most thoughtful person. I feel like I've learned a lot about creating characters and show running and storytelling from him. I really love BoJack Horseman. I really love that show and how they dealt with really serious issues, and they sort of Trojan horsed in some major adult concerns. I also love Big Mouth. I think what they're doing is in the same vein, tapping into some heavier issues through animation. Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, too. I got the chance to work with them in The Mitchells vs. the Machines. Mike Rianda has become an idol of mine because of what he did with that movie. It's always lovely to hear that someone still loves and respects those that inspired them, and that no doubt propels Jacobson to go and do her best in all she does for them so that she can make them proud. Though, given her talent and how successful the things she's voiced have done, we're pretty sure they're proud of her already. The end of Part 3. Now that we've teased Part 4, let's go back to Part 3 and remember how that ended so you'll be caught up. For those who remember, Part 3 of Disenchantment ended in confusion in terms of the story and what would happen next for some of the characters. Several subplots in the story went unresolved. Not to mention, the protagonists are now separated and facing different cliffhangers. It was a lot to take in, but here's the overview. Disenchantment Part 3 opened where Season 2 ended, with Princess Tiabeanie, Elfo, and Luci trying to solve the mystery of who attempted to assassinate King Zog and frame Bean for the crime. The trail led to the rival nation of Steamland, whose ruler, Abbi Jacobson, seemed to have an infatuation with Bean. The season ended with Bean trying to build up Dreamland's defenses in anticipation of a retaliatory strike from Steamland, only to wind up facing entirely different enemies from within and without. The biggest revelation to come out of Disenchantment Part 3 is that the nations surrounding Dreamland are convinced that it possesses some kind of secret magical resources. This is why the rich nation of Bentwood originally sought to ally itself with Dreamland by marrying their prince off to Bean in the series' first episode, and part of why Abbi Jacobson of Steamland is so interested in the neighboring country. Is this true or just another misdirection? It's hard to say, but there are subtle clues that Dreamland had vast magic resources at one time. Part 3 of Disenchantment also revealed that the secret society was also concerned with ending a curse that had been placed upon the royal family of Dreamland, and that getting King Zog off the throne was the first step in doing that. Furthermore, it was revealed that Dreamland was actually originally the home of elves and not humans, and the reason they left it for the forest is unclear. And that's still only scratching the surface on some of the twists and confusing elements that were seen in the finale of Part 3, which is no doubt all the more reason to watch Part 4 so you can see if some of these elements were resolved. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at Disenchantment Part 4 and what Abbi Jacobson has to say about all that is going on in Part 4 in both her character of Bean and beyond? Does this make you excited to watch Part 4 when you have the time? What do you personally hope to see from Part 4 and eventually Part 5 when it arrives? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time on the channel.